Geometry, linear pairs and vertical angles, day 2, part 2. Linear pair theorem. If two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary. If two angles form a linear pair, that's the hypothesis, then they are supplementary. That is the conclusion. The converse is not true. The inverse is not true. The contrapositive, of course, is true because this is true. If two angles are not supplementary, then they do not form a linear pair. Okay, here we have a practical example. We have two adjacent angles. They form a linear pair. This one is 4n plus 5. This is 8n minus 5. Find the value of n. What do we know? If they form a linear pair, as we have here, then they are supplementary. If they are supplementary, then they add to 180 degrees. So if we have a linear pair, the two angles add up to 180 degrees. What does that mean? Does that help us? Well, let's see. 4n plus 5 degrees plus 8n minus 5 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. Combine like terms. 4n plus 8n is 12n. 5 degrees minus 5 degrees is 0. 12n equals 180 degrees. Notice I keep my equal signs in a straight line. Divide both sides by 12. N is equal to 15. 4 times 15 is 60, plus 5 is 65. 8 times 15, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. Let's see, 8 times 15 is 30, 60, 90, 120. 120 minus 5 is 115. Do these two add to 180 degrees? Yes, they do. We're correct and we can prove it. Excellent. Now the next thing we have are vertical angles. Vertical angles are the non-adjacent angles formed by two intersecting lines. Vocabulary, 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 vocabulary. You have to know vertical angles. You have to know the linear pair theorem. You have to know adjacent angles. You have to know these words and what they mean. Okay, here we have an example. List all pairs of vertical angles. We have angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4. Angles 1 and 3 are vertical angles. Angles 2 and 4 are vertical angles. Name the pairs of vertical angles. Remember the vertex is the middle of the three named points. In naming an angle. Very important. So if we're naming vertical angles, we have HMJ and LMK. We also have angle HML and angle JMK. These are two pairs of vertical angles. Vertical angles always come in pairs. If we draw any pair of vertical angles, we are going to notice that they are congruent. You are welcome to do this. Vertical angles are congruent. If you have vertical angles, then they are congruent. If angles are not congruent, they are not vertical angles. So, if we have vertical angles, then they are congruent. And we can verify this. We can verify this with drawing angles, drawing lines, and a protractor. Finally, we have one example. Find the measure of each angle in the diagram. We have 2x plus 40 and 5x plus 16. They are vertical angles. We know they are congruent. That means they have the same measure. Well, what does that get us? We know that they have the same measure, so we know 2x plus 40 degrees is equal to 5x plus 16 degrees. I am going to subtract 2x from each side. That gives me 40 degrees equal to 5x minus 2x is 3x plus 16 degrees. Now I subtract 16 from each side. That's going to give me 24 degrees equals 3x. So divide both sides by 3 and x equals 8 degrees. Am I done? Well, no. The measure of each angle, 2 times 8 plus 40 is equal to 16 plus 40 is equal to 56. 5x plus 16 is 40 plus 16. 16 plus 40 is 40 plus 16. We are right. Each angle measures 56 degrees, and you are done with this part of your homework. Good job.